Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm so pleased to be joined by Sasha Lane, who plays Bobby on the Hulu limited series Conversations with Friends. It's a great performance. I love the show. Can you tell me what about Bobby excited you as an actor to play that character, I guess?
I always like when there's multiple layers to a character that you don't necessarily get all in one go, that you can't quite define her, especially because I think from right off the bat, when you're someone who's opinionated and very honest, it's always usually seen as something negative and in a lot for people to swallow and process, and it's very easy to kind of cast her off as the rude one, basically, and the one with all the energy. And so, of course, she's going to consume the room. But I like the fact that in the relationship, especially with Francis, there's a large amount of care that she has for her, and to have a friendship that long, especially one that's lasted through a romantic relationship and then into a friendship, there has to be a reason that they're still together. There has to be a reason that they have an understanding. And when it's just the two of them, that there's such an openness and a freedom of their love and their energy, and I think Bobby enjoys being just with Francis just as much as Francis enjoys being just with Bobby. So for me, that's always fun to do, and I like when there's silent moments and things that you have to bring from a page to life that um, requires no action, but more so looks and personalizing things and reflecting.
Yeah, that's what I love about this show, obviously, is that it's so much is internalized. And then all of you, I think all four of you are incredible on the show, and the performances are great because you're all, I just found it so captivating watching you guys. Everyone has to like think, watching them, you guys think as the characters, basically, where you can't communicate, obviously, because there's no lines necessarily about what you're feeling, but you do have to like express it to the audience. And it's so, and I think all of you do a really great job, especially you especially, I found like just really compelling. And I thought that's such great work. Is that like, with regard to like Francis and the relationship that Bobby has with her, like with you and Allison, then how did you guys work together to like figure that out and like kind of, I don't know, how did you think about their relationship together as performers?
So I think when you have two people who have quite a big history and a very intense history, you kind of meld into one, and then one person takes on one role while the other takes on, the other. So I think we had conversations of, okay, obviously, Bobby is a more outspoken one. And I think in time of their friendship, since that started, okay, then Bobby usually be the one who voices her opinion and makes all the decisions. And I'll be the one who, I write the poetry, you speak it, so you start to find like who does what in this relationship. And then to break it down even further, it's how do they act when they're together and they're showing their intimacy? Do you think they're really touchy with each other? Do you think they're, a bit more like, they just kind of like, I love you, right? Okay, cool. So it's just like little simple things that we would talk about is like, do you think she would put her arm around her? No. That's not really how they show their affection. It's more in other ways. And so we had a few of those discussions, and then, it's a 6-month project. So by the end of it, you kind of are like, I got it. I know exactly what they'll do. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. It definitely feels like having that amount of time too with the character helps you to all like kind of really immerse yourselves in that character, I'd imagine as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have like the other relationship that's big for Robbie's obviously with Melissa? And I love that the way the show is structured, obviously, because it's so much from Francis's POV, we don't get a lot of like Bobby's POV on Melissa necessarily, but like obviously you guys are really, I just think you get the relationship right away and understand where Bobby's coming from. But can you talk a little about like working with Jemima? Because there's like scenes where it's like obviously like I think like early on when they meet for lunch or they're at dinner or whatever it is, and it's like Francis and Nick are left together and you guys are like off in the background kind of, and it's just really cool because it's like, oh, you could just see the rapport even though you guys aren't like you're not pulling focus from the scene, but obviously you're there doing that. I just found that really compelling, I guess. Can you talk about how you thought about that and working with Jemima, I guess?
Well, I think the great thing about when you just naturally get along with someone, it makes it so much easier. And a lot of the times you don't see us unless Francis is there. So a lot of the times we are in the background, and a lot of our relationship is the background. And so how do you show that you're enjoying each other's company, that there's flirtations going on, and that you like each other when you are literally sitting in the back and you don't even know if the camera is like halfway on you or not. So I think the beauty of that is because we knew that potentially our audio wasn't going to be heard. It was more of the body language. So sometimes when we would be sitting there through their entire end of meal discussion between Francis and Nick, me and Jemima really got a chance to just be ourselves, because then that would give off the true feeling of friendship and energy between them. And so Jemima has this like real, she's just such a like blunt person, which I love. And so she would just come out saying like the craziest things to me, and I would laugh, or, you know, and we're sharing a cigarette and we're just talking about Sasha and Jemima. I would just tell her crazy stories of my day. She'd tell me about her day. We would just talk about the most random things. And the perfect thing about it is once you look at it, we're animated, we're talking, we're laughing, we're smiling, we're touching, all that. And so that was kind of the fun little quirk to being in the background between Nick and Francis, was we just got to do what we wanted, because you will see us enjoying each other no matter what.
Yeah. Is that something too that I guess had it like from it sounds like I've interviewed other people in the cast too. It sounds like Lenny Abramson has a real like almost treats it like play almost, right? Like, or like, you know, like it's like very very free as an actor. I guess does that kind of play into that as well, like his direction of your performances?
Well, I guess in terms of, do you mean like the background with me and Jemima?
Yeah, like I mean, is he like encouraging that kind of stuff too, or is that just like stuff that you're like, oh, this is gonna work, basically?
I think we just knew it was gonna work because you know, we know our duty and our job as the relationship and what we're supposed to have and what we're supposed to show for Melissa and Bobby. So it was just kind of like, all right, Lenny, we'll focus on that scene. We'll be back here. And it was kind of fun to crack him up a bit, because we would just be talking about like really weird stuff. And you could just hear him be like, wait, what? And we're like, we'll see if we'll make it in audio, just to have some fun with it.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. One of the parts I want to ask you too about is I found this, the thing I really liked about the show is it kept surprising me, I guess, in different ways. Not like it's not like a big twist show, obviously, but like just certain responses and reactions. So when Bobby walks in on Nick and Francis in bed, and she's so upset, she later says like, oh, it was embarrassing for me, basically. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think of that as a response. And it felt like so authentic. And I guess, how did you think of that as the response, as like playing her? I just thought that was like because she's not mad at her for like having an affair or anything. It's like she's embarrassed that she wouldn't tell her that. And I just found that such an interesting response, I thought.
Yeah, that's such I haven't heard that one yet. And that's so true, because it's the last response you think someone would have is where I'm not angry that you're sleeping with him. It's just the fact that as your best friend and as someone who's been trying so hard to hang out with you and has been cast out for I'm getting iced out for a reason that I don't understand, to then that be the reason. It almost, you know, if you're really close with someone and you find out a secret or find out that they were having a hard time, and it's like, I've sat at dinner with you all day and I couldn't realize what was going on, and it's because of that, like, it's embarrassing to think that you don't trust me with that information. The one person who has been saying, love multiple people, Francis, enjoy your life, Francis, be bold, Francis, and the one time you do that, you don't want to tell me, it sucks. It's like, have you ever listened to me once, you know? Yeah. So that was I like that you noticed that, because embarrassment is not the normal response, but I feel like it's a really real response of, really, that's what it was the whole time. Yeah. I've been telling you to hook up with Nick, and you literally were, and you wouldn't tell me. Yeah.
One of the things I think I read in another interview you did, you were talking about how like Bobby could come off as like, if not a villain, like a kind of I don't even know, like a wet blanket or whatever. And I guess like you don't play her like that at all. I think the performance is so empathetic, and you really, like you said, like I think you understand the relationship they have together. But is that something when you were first reading it, I guess, is that like consciously trying to avoid making her into like a villain, I guess, or how did you view that?
I think yeah, like that was the exciting factor for me, kind of like she's so easily written off as the villain, but you never got her perspective. You never got to hear her side of the conversation. You never got to be in the room with her because you're only seeing it through one person's lens. And it's always, you know, when you have that phrase of like, don't shoot the messenger in kind of situations, like she's always the one who's like, there's an elephant in the room, you want to talk about it? And then everyone's like, how dare you? We're at a dinner party, the four of us, and you're sleeping with someone's like husband, and she knows about it, but I'm the bad guy just because I said this is weird.
Yeah. No.
You know, it's like, okay, I was trying to break the ice, but whatever. Yeah.
When you're doing those dinner scenes, are you like, how much of that, like, I not like how much are you eating, but like what is that like how long does it take to do those scenes basically? And like when you're like at like that kind of like you like there are multiple scenes like that. So what was that like?
Well, Lenny is and Leanne as well, they pay a lot of attention to detail. So every little thing is important. Every word you say, every phrase, every time you pick up a glass, it's all important. So, you know, it takes hours, you know, even the one scene where we just say hello to Melissa at her birthday party took 10 hours. So
Wow.
you can imagine a dinner scene. It's really big. And yeah, when there's food involved, it's like you kind of just got to commit to like a snow pea and just go, I cannot keep speaking. And then I've had two chews and I got to get the third one in before you see it because there's continuity. And it just, you kind of, you want to establish it right off the bat, because once you start taking random sips, then all of a sudden you have someone coming in telling you like, you sipped when you said that word, by the way, and you're like, damn.
Oh no. Wow, that's absolutely nuts. Last thing I guess before we wrap up, you I mean, you know, you broke out in American Honey. I love that performance. You've done a lot since then. This project seems like it's been really fulfilling. I would imagine just hearing you talk about it. Like what do you feel like where you are right now as an actress, and like where do you want to, like how do you feel like you're evolving, I guess, as a performer at this point?
I think I have maybe a bit more, I have less guilt. I have less of this like kind of, what is it, like imposter syndrome situation, because I felt a lot of guilt in the beginning of my career, just out of respect for people wanting to do it and me not wanting to do it. I was still finding myself. Everything was still new to me. But now, you know, I think I'm trying to give myself a bit more self-love. And also, you know, it's a job and I take that very seriously. And it's also still a passion of mine. And I'm just trying to make sure that I enjoy it, because it's really hard work and it takes a lot. It's not just what people assume it could be. You know, this takes a big chunk out of our lives. And I'm a mom now. It's a lot to do. And so I want to respect everyone else in this craft, everyone who makes these projects with us. That is a big deal. And so I'm putting a lot into that, but also you know, respecting myself as just a person in general. But you know, my goal is to evolve and to get better constantly. And I hope that happens. One can only hope.
Yeah, I mean, watching this performance, I think it had, like, I just thought it's a great work. Sasha Lane, Conversations with Friends. You can stream all the episodes on Hulu. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.